Hello, and welcome to the Pharmacy Times News Network. I'm Mike Lakar, and your host for our Pharmacy Week in Review. As 2015 comes to a close, the American Society of Health Systems Pharmacists Foundation has released its annual pharmacy forecast, outlining the trends likely to shape pharmacy practice in the future. At the recent ASHP mid-year clinical meeting, forecast contributor Dr. James Hoffman described how patient empowerment is one of the most significant trends disrupting pharmacy practice.
Something that will only grow in the future is this idea of patient empowerment. And you can come at this from a couple of perspectives, but think of it of more and more sort of decision making, more tools, more things being put to the patient to partner in care, and that providers and organizations need to be prepared to work in that way with patients.
In product news, the FDA is now allowing civilians to access a wound dressing typically used to control life-threatening bleeding in military settings. The XStat 30 wound dressing can help stop bleeding in areas where a tourniquet cannot be placed. Healthcare providers can use up to 3 applicators on one patient, and the dressing can be used for up to 4 hours on a wound. Even though antibiotics are not required for most acute respiratory tract infections, an estimated 60% of adults still receive an antibiotic for this indication. This misuse of antibiotics is leading to increased drug resistance, which is spurring extensive efforts to discourage antibiotic prescribing. In this next clip, Dr. J. Russell May explains why pharmacists are an essential player in these antibiotic stewardship efforts.
So one thing that was recognized early on with documents, with the evidence that's out there for the value of antimicrobial stewardship programs, was the value the pharmacists brought to the table. The Infectious Disease Society of America up front recommended a pharmacist be part of that team. And it's very clear why, because the pharmacist is looking at the entire picture of, and not just the antibiotics, so they're picking up the things like drug interactions. They're recognizing very quickly when patients can go to IV to oral.
Pharmacists have more work to do in educating patients on the importance and effectiveness of flu vaccination. An alarming 1/3 of adults surveyed in a recent Harris poll did not believe that getting a flu shot would help them avoid the flu. In fact, fewer than half said they strongly agreed that vaccination would help prevent them from getting the flu. Pharmacists should be aware that the 4 measures most Americans believe will prevent the flu more than the vaccination are hand washing, rest, healthy diet, and appropriate clothes for the weather. For more great coverage and practical information for today's pharmacist, visit our website and sign up for our daily e-news. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for watching our Pharmacy Week in Review. I'm Mike Lakar at the Pharmacy Times News Network.